Alright, what up guys? And in today's video, I'm going to show you this insane trading strategy that beats the market 93% of the time. And not only that, I'm also going to show you how you can implement this insane strategy into your own trading bots. Now, if you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit that subscribe button and let's dive right into it. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I found this article written by the Liberated Stock Trader, where based on over 10,400 years of data, they provided the 10 best trading indicators for day trading. Now, I already covered the price rate of change indicators, so if you want to check that video out too, make sure to check out the description below. But in today's video, we're going to be discussing the VWAP. So what exactly is the VWAP? Well, the VWAP is the volume weighted average price, and it's a trading benchmark based on the trading volume and the price. And this value is calculated by taking the total dollar amount of all traded securities in a given period and dividing it by the total number of shares traded during that period. And this nifty formula gives us an idea of where buyers and sellers are making moves in the price movement. Now, a couple of things to know about the VWAP here. The first is that VWAP is a single day trading indicator, which means at the beginning of every new trading day, the VWAP is reset and then recalculated based on that day. Therefore, towards the end of the day, the VWAP becomes less useful because it begins to look a lot like a regular volume average. However, if you use this towards the beginning of the day, it becomes a very precise indicator on the average price of that asset and a potential for you to realize when you should buy and sell this asset. However, because the VWAP is anchored on the opening price of every single day, the lag does get worse and worse as the day goes on. Meaning the more values that you tend to have, the worse the VWAP becomes. The VWAP itself is based on historical values, which means it doesn't provide you with any predictive qualities or trading indicators. However, the VWAP is great at giving a smoothed out indication of an asset's price with adjustments for volume over time. It is great at identifying different momentums and trends during the day than your typical indicator would be. However, if we take a closer look at this article, we can see that if we use the VWAP with a regular candlestick chart, you'll know that it only produces a 30% win rate. However, by using it in combination with a Heikin Ashi chart, we actually get a much higher win rate. Now, if you didn't know, Heikin Ashi is a charting technique that smooths out the price movements, providing a clearer picture of trends. And unlike traditional candlestick charts, the Heikin Ashi chart averages the open, close, high, and low prices of every single candlestick, making them particularly useful in reducing market noise. Now, for beginner traders, I typically wouldn't recommend using a Heikin Ashi chart on any of their assets. However, by using them in combination with the VWAP and other potential trading indicators, you can see a clear picture of the momentum that is carried throughout the day. Moreover, on Heikin Ashi charts, it effectively reduces the amount of volatility an asset's price might have because it takes the average of every single candlestick, making it particularly useful for trading indicators as well. Because many trading indicators work well within a trend, they work well with the Heikin Ashi because the Heikin Ashi reduces that volatility and you can see the trend clearer. And now that we discussed what indicator and what candlestick chart you're going to be using, let's take a look at the statistics. When using the VWAP on the 5-minute day trading setup with a Heikin Ashi chart, the win rate soared to 93% of beating the market significantly. Although individual winning trades were at 29%, the real star here is the 4.1 reward to risk ratio. This means that for every dollar that you risk, you stand to gain $4.10. Now that is an insane reward to risk ratio, which means that if you do have a good and winning trade, the potential to 4x your profits is almost guaranteed. But now let's take a minute and understand what this actually means for trading. As you can see in this trading chart right here, you'll notice that when the prices are crossing above the VWAP, that is when you would buy, and when it crosses below, that is exactly when you would sell. You'll also notice that there are groups of candlesticks that are green and red, green indicating a bullish trend and red indicating a bearish trend. This is the result of using the Heikin Ashi chart, in which you can clearly identify the different momentums that is within a price movement. And by using this VWAP strategy, that is what has led to the 93% rate of beating the market. Now, if you see here, only 29% of the trades were actual winners. However, don't let this discourage you, because A, this might be due to the market falling in price, and if you did use the VWAP to trade within this time frame, you'd still lose less than the market would have lost. And B, the 29% of these winners actually have a reward to risk ratio of $4.1, which means that most likely if you do have a winner trading with a VWAP, you're going to make back 4.1% of the money that you put down. This means that even if the VWAP does lose 71% of the time, the 29% of the time that it does win profits you more than you would lose in those 71% of losers. Now, as always, I'll recommend you do your own research and adjust your trading strategy to indicators that you're comfortable with trading. For instance, it might be a good idea to use the VWAP along with an indicator like the MACD in order to gain a better understanding of the market movement and predicting the future asset price. Now that we've discussed what this trading strategy is, now let's try to implement it into our own trading bot. Once again, I'll be using Python coding as well as the Binance API library to trade with. However, if you want, you can change some of the parameters in order to connect to APIs of major stock exchanges, so you can trade with those as well. Now, all of this code will have been covered in my previous videos. I'll go over them in this video, but if you want a coding tutorial on how you can make those yourself, once again, you can check out some of the other videos in this playlist. Now, without further ado, let's jump right into the coding. So really quickly, I'll go over it once again. You'll need your Binance API information to be able to connect to the trading bot, as you can see up here. And once again, you need to make sure you have your client here. And the first class that you have is a price updated class, which just basically gets all the price information of the assets from the Binance API. And then we can use that to trade it later. And then we have our algorithms class here, which contains all of our different trading algorithms. For instance, here we have the EMA, or the exponential moving average, as well as the MACD and RSI. And once again, if you're interested in these, you can check out the other videos in the playlist. And once again, we also have our price rate of change, and we also already made the Heikin Ashi candlestick chart last time. But very quickly, as you can see here, all we're doing is taking all these different values within a single candlestick, and then we're taking the average of them, and then making a new candlestick for every single candlestick that we're giving this function. So in this way, we convert any candlestick chart into a Heikin Ashi chart. And finally, here is where we have our checks class. So this will just check whether the price of the asset is where it needs to be for us to generate a buy and sell order in relation to a specific indicator. For instance, here we have the price rate of change, as well as MACD and RSI. And as you can see here, we basically give a sell signal if the RSI is above 70, or a buy signal if the RSI is below 30, which is very easy to understand there. And finally, we have our AlgoBot class, which basically takes all that information and creates buy and sell orders with it. And finally, we have some code outside here just to make sure that we can trade with all of our different indicators. So now that we've discussed what the different classes are, now let's jump right into the coding. So that's literally it. That's how you can calculate the VWAP on your own by using the average cumulative typical price and the cumulative volume. So now, after we have all of that, once again, we already have our Heikin Ashi calculation here, so we don't need to create that anymore. Now, after we calculate the different VWAP values, now we have to create another check class for the VWAP to determine where the price of the asset needs to be in relation to the VWAP indicator in order for us to create a buy or sell order. So let's just do that really quickly. There you go, and that's your checks class all done right there. And now finally, we have to move on to the AlgoBot class, which might get a little confusing, but if you see my previous videos, you'll have a pretty good understanding of how this works. So finally, we do have to come down here to this bot dictionary, and as I mentioned before, this is basically how you can code it out yourself, but this was using the ROC and MACD and RSI values. So instead of using all of those, then we can just add in the VWAP instead. Alright, and there you go. That should be this entire coding done. So now let's try running this code to make sure that it works. So there you go. Now you can see it printing. So once again, we have AlgoBot1, which is the name of the bots, and then we printed out starts. And then here's all the different VWAP values of Bitcoin and the USDT pair. So as we can see here, the first value is 0, obviously, because it is just the start of the day. Then as you can see here, it keeps hovering around the 41,000 range. And finally, we can see here that the signal that is currently giving is none, which means that the price is Bitcoin is either above or below the current VWAP line. And you can simply implement this with your own trading codes. And once again, I have all that in my GitHub below, so if you want to just copy and paste that and check it out yourself, you're more than welcome to. And there you go, that's how you can implement this amazing trading strategy within your own trading bot. Now, as I said before, it might be a smart idea to use other indicators in combination with the VWAP and the Heiken Ashi candlestick chart in order to give you a better prediction of what the price will be in the future. And like always, make sure to do your research on what trading indicators and what strategy is good for you in order to become a profitable trader. And keep in mind that no matter how good a trading strategy is, there's always bound to be risks involved with any type of trading. So make sure you don't bite off more than you can chew. Once again, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see y'all next time. Happy trading.